Hey, this is Mike McAdam from Gen X Guitar. Hey, dude, how are they going to see me if you're in the way? Can you get out of my... Look, people are here to see me. I want to be seen. Hey, this is Mike McAdam from Gen X Guitar. I want to talk about ego in music and how it's a dangerous thing most of the time. So let's talk about ego in music. It's a very sensitive subject. And I would say, like, if you perform music privately or just in your own bedroom and you're playing for fun, that's one type of thing. But there are people that say the second you take your music out to a stage or perform publicly, it's basically to get attention. And I think a lot of that's true, but you have to kind of divide how much you're a musician and how much you're an entertainer. When you start performing publicly, I mean, are you doing it just because you love music? Or are you doing it for attention validation? I don't know where you are in that continuum, but let's talk about it a little bit. So how do we take that and turn it into a positive rather than a negative? You know, one of the things is when you play in a group, it's always going to be about sharing. You know, my joke is if I was going to buy a pizza and I can eat the entire pizza, I don't have to share with anyone, then it's easier. The second we introduce other musicians to that equation, now we're sharing the pizza. And especially if you're playing with other guitar players, for example, right now I'm playing in a group, Rocking Horse Music Club. Check it out below, I'll leave a link. And I play with 3 other guitar players in that band. So in that band, it's really important for everyone to know their sonic space, how busy you play, how much face time you get, etc. I remember playing in a country band where I probably got 3 solos a night and a 3-hour set. And I had a friend of mine say, how can you play in a band like that when you're just playing rhythm guitar all night? I didn't have a problem with it because I knew that was what I was being paid to do. So a lot of times in music, it is about subjugating your ego and saying, look, it's not about me all the time. It's about how do I support whatever artist I'm playing with. And you have to figure out how much of that you can handle. I see this a lot with singers. So for example, if you look at the movie 40 Feet from Stardom or Sideman and movies like that, you see where often the backup musicians or the backup singers are often much more talented than the artist, but their job is to not show it because you're going to get fired if you upstage big name singer on stage by flexing all your chops. I went to see a band 15 years ago that rhymes with the name Heart, and their backup guitarist was much better than the star guitarist of that band, but his job was to not show it too much. So there's always an interesting balance of where you do that and where you don't do that. The other thing I would say is when you play in bands with especially other people that play your instrument, if it's guitar, for example, there's a big difference between showing up and doing your personal best rather than just trying to blow people off the bandstand and compete with other people in your band. That's kind of bush leaguey type stuff, but you know, there's nothing wrong with, hey, I have my personality on my instrument, I have the way that I play, and I want to just do the best I can do with that instrument. I remember playing an open jam a long time ago, and there was a guy that directed the band, and I got up and played with them, and suddenly this guy starts shredding on the guitar. He hadn't done that kind of thing all night, but for whatever reason, he felt the need to do that type of stuff, despite the fact that I wasn't playing like that at all. Again, music can be very ego-driven, but we have to figure out the balance between performing well, why you're performing well, and if you're doing it just to show off. So I remember one example I saw, there was this, I think it was called Divas Live. It was this VH1 show in the late 90s where Mariah Carey and Aretha Franklin were duetting on a song. And it was pretty obvious they weren't supporting each other. It just started turning into this thing where they were trying to upstage each other on the show. And it didn't seem like a friendly kind of encouraging each other type of situation. I'm sure there's some link to that somewhere if you want to check it out, but I thought that was very interesting. So on a positive note, I want to close this out by saying, look, just be the best version of yourself on stage. play how you can play. It's not about trying to blow other people away or trying to satisfy the audience all the time. We are entertainers by nature, so yes, you have to satisfy an audience if you ever want to play somewhere again. Now that we've talked about all this ego gratification stuff, you could make my ego very happy by liking this video and subscribing and telling me how great I am in the comments. And if you don't have anything nice to say, go to someone else's video and write some bad stuff. But in the meantime, if you would consider subscribing, check out some of our other content, leave us money, do all that fun stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching Gen X Guitar. Are you performing just because you love music? Or what the Are you performing just because... Let me start over because you were laughing. You're now ruining my audio. People want to hear me and see me.